I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and it's part 2 of a dogfight battle between the Apple iPhone 5 and the Samsung Galaxy S3. Let's pick it up where we left off. It's part 2 of a hot dogfight, hot with a W, hot dogfight between the Apple iPhone 5 and the Samsung Galaxy S3. Both of these units are on Verizon, but obviously because of the cosmetic lack of differences between both of these on all carriers in the US, you've got AT&T and Sprint over here, and then you have AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, and US Cellular in addition to Verizon over here. This is really comparable with the exception, obviously, of network speeds and carrier-installed applications across the board because these look exactly the same depending on which carrier you go with, or regardless of which carrier you go with, I should say. But welcome back to part 2 of an epic dogfight. This is the dogfight of 2012 for all I'm concerned. This is a flagship device. This is a flagship device. Let's put them together in a dogfight. But first, some love to Best Buy Mobile. Special thanks to them for giving us devices for use in our One Paw Bandit game. We're actually giving these away on the site right now thanks to Best Buy Mobile at instantwin.phonedog.com. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you won't deal with rebates, paperwork, waiting 8 to 10 weeks. There's annoying debit cards that literally no one in the world likes. I mean, there's got to be like some 1 or 2 people out there that like them, but otherwise, most people don't like those. At Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out without paying the after rebate price. So let's jump right in and take a look at both of these devices. Where I left off in part 1, I was talking about software, and I want to go back into that discussion a little bit here while we're taking a look at some of the different things on both of these devices. First of all, I'll show you the phone applications so you can kind of see the difference here, both on screen size and on improvements to iOS 6 and TouchWiz. So iOS 6 over here, a little bit of a difference in terms of the way that it looks in the dialer application. Same thing over here, recent, favorites, and contacts. Down here, favorites, recents, keypad, voicemail, and in the center, contacts. Now keep in mind, favorites over here, if you have Do Not Disturb turned on, which we talked about in part 1, you can set it where your favorites, your mom, your dad, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever, can call you, and it'll still roll through despite Do Not Disturb being on. And I also want to show you some of the improvements to the call area, and we'll do a dial test of the iPhone 5 here. To remember the number of the iPhone 5 unit. So I have a feeling the Quick Brown Fox is going to call over here in just a second, so we'll take a look at what it looks like. And then, of course, there it is. Quick Brown Fox is calling. And then, of course, you have these new settings down here as well. Decline, answer, and you can swipe it up much like you can with camera in the camera area when you're unlocking the device itself. And you can hit reply with message or remind me later. So I can hit reply with message. I'm going to call Quick Brown Fox later. And so I sent him a text message. And you can see it just sent through there. So those are some additional features. Over here, you've got kind of a similar look and feel. If I knew the demo phone number, I can't remember it off the top of my head over here, I'd give it a buzz because you have a couple of different options there. And then, of course, the unlock screens within themselves look slightly different over here. You've got some shortcuts down here, and you can really customize the unlock screen over on the Galaxy S3. You can add a news ticker at the bottom. You can add icon shortcuts. You can add the weather, which obviously I have here. And, of course, when you have a message or a missed call, they pop up in little circles over here. And again, Nature UX, as you can see, the kind of water ripple as I go through here. On this side, I can either swipe up to reveal the camera or slide to unlock. So let's take a quick look at speed test because we don't have a lot of time, and I don't want to keep part 2. As long as I did part 1, I have a feeling part 1 is going to be like 17 minutes. But, you know, let's be honest, guys. This is an epic dogfight. So I am pretty psyched about it. Verizon's LTE, they quote 5 to 12 megabits per second on the download, 2 to 5 megabits per second on the upload. I've seen it much faster in testing on both of these devices, but we'll see what is happening at this given point at 3:30 in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we'll load up Shelby, North Carolina on both. You've got speed test starting up over here, about 13 megabits per second over here, a little faster over on this side, 16 megabits per second, 15 to 16. So much ahead of the 5 to 12 megabits per second quote that they give you. That's in very saturated markets, which is ironic because we actually are one of the more saturated markets. We rolled out in December 5th, 2010, along with the other 38 original LTE markets. And then over here, upload a little slower on the iPhone, but uploads faster on the Galaxy S3. So download, iPhone wins, upload, Galaxy S3 wins. And because there's no quadrant standard on iPhone, I'm going to roll through that test. We won't do it over here on the Galaxy S3, but again, dual-core processors, a slower clock speed over here, but it's all about the way that it works with the software. So that's something to really keep in mind. So let's go through some of the issues with both of these devices as well, where we're kind of talking about it. One, I'm noticing that the Galaxy S3 for a plastic device, it's pretty prone to breaking. You look at any drop tests on the internet, and also with my own personal use, I actually dropped a Galaxy S3 one time on tile and it shattered. And so my screen shattered on my original blue AT&T Galaxy S3 I was working with. Over here, these historically rather have issues with dropping, although I will say, based on my early research of these devices, it seems like these are a little bit more sturdy thanks to the metal or the aluminum on the back, aluminum sides. I do notice that these seem a little bit more sturdy. That said, and this one's also noticeably lighter than the 4 and the 4S. So keeping both of those things in mind, I think you've got a more durable device over here. Now, it's anybody's guess as to which one of these is actually more durable, and in all honesty, I think it depends on how you drop it. So you look at any drop test on the internet, you're going to be out of luck, because if it drops a certain way, it's going to be fine. If this one drops a certain way, it's going to have issues. If you look at any of those, be sure to take a look at how they each individually drop. But that said, some issues with the iPhone 5. Several people, including Taylor Martin with Phone Dog and a couple of other people I follow and work with on the internet, have had issues out of the gate from the factory where there are scuffs or scratches on their black iPhone 5s. Not really seeing it as much on the white iPhone 5, which is funny because it kind of goes full circle. You know, we had the issue with the white paint on the iPhone 4 and 4S for so long, and now it's gone full circle and it's come back to the black devices. But issues because this is aluminum underneath, and when you scratch it, there's a paint coat on this, and when you scratch it, it removes that paint coat and you can see the aluminum underneath. No, I will not try it on Phone Dog's demo device, but you get my idea, and you'll see, if you look at pictures on the internet, and you can see, for example, here, this is literally not left the office or left my briefcase, and it's been in a little nice contained pocket, and you can see here, I'll wait for it to focus in, so you can take a look here. You can see a little scuff right there at the very bottom. That was there from the very beginning on the Verizon unit. Issues like that, build quality or kind of QA issues like that, are definitely a concern. Over here, haven't really had any issues like that, though. I will say with one of the AT&T review units I was working with, the back kind of popped off, and despite which battery cover I put on it, I tried the Verizon one and the Sprint one thinking, well, maybe the plastic is just warped on this device. Unfortunately, it seemed to be the device itself. Something had happened with the hinge area, and I was having some issues with that. Also, I'm noticing that over extended use with these devices, I see hairline cracks between the camera, the flash, and then, of course, the speaker just on the battery door. And I don't know if you can see any on this one, but I really notice it on the blue Galaxy S3s. And I have not seen it on the red one, but I did see it on the blue T-Mobile and on the white AT&T Galaxy S3 I was working with. So little issues like that, little quality assurance issues. That said, it's part of mass producing a device, but still you'd like to see them get a little better at that. And given Apple's historical advantage here, they when it comes to that kind of stuff, or their kind of OCD intent to be perfect, if you will, it's odd to see these kind of build quality issues coming out of the gate, despite the fact that they sold 5 million devices over the weekend. Let's take a look at the cameras. 8 megapixel cameras on both of these devices. 1080p HD video recording, as you can see here. We'll take a picture of the Intuition on both. Camera's fantastic on both devices. I give a slight edge in terms of image quality, and hear me out here, slight edge in terms of image quality to the iPhone 5. That said, the features of the camera make me give the overall camera award to the Galaxy S3. There are some brilliant features over here. Take a look at some things like this, for example, single mode or single shot, burst shot, HDR. So I can turn on burst shot, for example. We'll slide that one out of the way just for a minute. I can either do best shot and take 8 pictures in rapid succession, or I can do burst shot and then do 20 pictures in rapid succession. But once I take pictures, I can just move it around, have some fun with it. So this is great where, you know, I'm watching a soccer game or a basketball game, or I'm watching terrible referees, as you probably saw last night. I can take pictures if I'm in person, burst shot, do quick pictures, and have those all stored in my gallery right there. And I can go through and delete the ones that I don't like. I can upload those instantaneously. And then over here I can see my other modes as well. HDR is always a nice mode. I like Buddy Photo Share as well. Let's say you go to a wedding with your friend, your wife, your husband, your significant other, your brother, whoever, and you both have Galaxy S3s, or maybe 5 or 6 of you have Galaxy S3s. You can create Buddy Photo Share, and if you take 100 wedding pictures and everybody else takes zilch, 0 wedding pictures, I like to say zilch, it's kind of a fun word, 0 wedding pictures, you'll all walk out with 100 wedding pictures thanks to Buddy Photo Share. So very similar to S-Beam there, except it's more of a real-time kind of thing where you walk out and you all have the same number of pictures. And of course you can do cool stuff like facial tag and recognition that way. So in terms of camera settings, I give it to the Galaxy S3. That said, iPhone 5 does have a neat little feature called Panorama, where you can go and take a continuous picture, and I'll try to do it here in the office. Slide around my office so you can take a look. And you want to hold the arrow on the line. And let's see here. Move, there we go. Not my best panorama by any means. I needed to move it down, but you can see here, full size of the office, and you can really see where it kind of messed up because I moved around too quickly and I went too far up, but you got some issues like that. Otherwise, that's a cool feature, easy to post, and you do have some improved abilities to post. You'll notice things like this in Safari where you got a more intuitive interface here. I can add this page to the home screen, and then bam, I've got Phone Dog right on my main page. But again, no widgets, it's all applications and all open up applications with the exception of course, this stuff. And you do see some minor improvements to weather as you can see here, and more. So for more on the iPhone 5 itself, check out the review. For more on the Galaxy S3 itself, check out the review. And again, it's all about integration. iTunes integration here is fantastic. The iTunes store has been completely revamped. And you've got Google Play over here so you can download some music. That said, the collection of music far greater in iTunes due to the fact that they've been around longer. They have additional partnerships that Google hasn't quite been able to ink just yet. But I do find that I'd say anywhere from 30 to 40% of the time, total rough estimate there, but between 30 or 40% of the time, I actually can't find the songs I want in Google Play Music. I can almost always find them in iTunes. But a slight look and feel change here. This week, recent hits. I can scroll through and see music, movies, TV shows, search, and more down here at the bottom. And I've got my recent hits. I can go into Babel, for example, Mumford & Sons. I can download the full album. I can download the songs. And because of integration with iTunes, I can turn it all on where when I get something on the computer, it'll auto-sync to my phone, or when I buy something on the phone, it'll auto-sync to the computer. Over here, you've got Google Play, and then you have Google Music as well. And then, of course, I can kind of do a similar cloud-based solution with, I'll scroll over here so you can see Play Music, and I can do a cloud-based solution there, but still not quite as integrated in the music and media department as the iPhone 5. But you got to look at the software features. You know, it's one of those things. Years ago, the ecosystem here was second to none, and it's still very good when it comes to iTunes. Over here, great ecosystem when it comes to Android, and it comes to Gmail, and it comes to Google services, and it's only gotten better over time. An ice cream sandwich with user interfaces like this, honestly, bring it up to par to the point where I can recommend this to a lot of people. It's easy to use, it's customizable, and yeah, they may not have linked up everything perfectly when it comes to music just yet, or magazines just yet, but they're really working hard on it. And I think the software features of this, in a lot of cases, offset the software features of the iPhone 5. It's no longer like the iPhone's up here and all Android devices are down here. As far as I'm concerned, the iPhone 5 is neck and neck with the Galaxy S3, the HTC One X, the Evo 4G LTE, all these high-end Android devices, and depending on your personal preference, maybe some Windows Phone devices as well, despite the fact their ecosystem isn't nearly as built out yet. So we'll take a look here and feature, and just want to show you a song over here as well. Call Me Maybe, that's a great song. Download it here, and I can see my reviews, and I can go down through here as well and see reviews related all through here. And like I said in part one, I am having some touch responsiveness issues on both iPhone 5s, AT&T and Verizon. I have two demo units for PhoneDog, and had some issues. As you can see, I'm having to click things multiple times right there. Really don't care for that. On the other hand, over here, pretty quick and easy, and it seems to register my gestures in most cases. Really having some issues with the iPhone 5, and I don't know if it's because of the way that they do the screen now, where the touch response or touch integration and the screen itself are fused into one, whereas before it was a panel of glass and then the touch digitizer. Could be a little bit different because of that and because of the lighter weight, but still, hopefully they'll get a software update out to fix that. So this is a tough battle. I honestly, if you walked up to me in person and you said which one of these devices, I'd ask you about 20 questions of what you wanted and would make a decision for there. I can automatically think of people in my life I'd still recommend this device to, despite the fact that for Apple, they've got some weird issues going on. It's just very un-Apple, if you will, out of the gate. You know, they're usually pretty good for perfection, and say what you will about the reasons why that's not the case right now with the iPhone 5. But as you can see here, Apple's Maps versus Google's Maps is a comparison. Apple's obviously having some issues with their maps. They're getting kind of rung around the press for that as well. But that said, they're both awesome devices. Software updates will fix this. They all roll out with software updates. But you know, it's odd because Apple has historically been pretty good about rolling out in a near perfect form, with the exception, of course, of AntennaGate. There's always an issue with every device when it rolls out, but there were quite a few issues with the iPhone 5 where I was like, is this really the same Apple I've been covering for all these years? Because there are like 5 issues with this phone out of the gate. Over here, Galaxy S3, great device. Maybe too big for some people, but otherwise, it's a flagship Android device that should appeal to a lot of people. These are both fantastic, come in different colors, available on a lot of different carriers. It's a tough call. And honestly, like I said, I tell you, if you walked up to me in person, I'd ask you a bunch of questions. I can think of at least 5 friends I'd recommend this to, and at least 5 friends I'd recommend this to, and have recommended both of these to them, depending on their wants and needs. That said, the dogfight winner, get ready for it. Drum roll. Brrr, that's a terrible drum roll, but drum roll, please. The Galaxy S3 is the winner of the dogfight. Honestly, had this been a year ago with the Galaxy S2 versus the 4S, Samsung hasn't quite up to par when it came to the Galaxy S2. It was very close. They were working on TouchWiz. They were working on that software integration. But this thing presents an incredible package when it comes to specs, great specs. The software is incredible. Features like S-Beam really redefine the consumer experience. And these are the things Samsung's got to work really hard on getting out and messaging to people. All of their ads should be about, and they kind of are, but all of their ads should be about S-Beam and about, you know, fantastic web browsing capabilities and some of these things that really matter to people. Great maps capabilities. and more. S-Beam, custom software functionalities like the lock screen, the ability to flip it over, the ability to pick it up and it vibrates when you have a notification, the ability to palm swipe, to take a screenshot. All of these things make this a really incredible package for $200. It's available in a lot of different colors, and it's available on a lot of different carriers, again, which was Samsung's problem a couple of years ago. All the phones differed, and this is HTC's current problem. All of their phones differ depending on which manufacturer, which carrier, you go to. Over here, great device, but still, iPhone has fallen behind. Is it falling behind Android? Well, that's up to you to decide. It's still on par to me with the One X and the Galaxy S3, but when it comes to this in terms of features and everything combined, camera, settings, software, the Galaxy S3 wins the dogfight. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with both of these devices. Keep it locked on the site for continuing coverage. Let me know what you think as well. PhoneDog_Aaron on Twitter, on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Maybe you love the iPhone, maybe you love the Galaxy S3. I'd love to hear your reasoning why you like your device. Tell me what you like. It's S-Beam for me on the Galaxy S3. Over here, it's things like Do Not Disturb, great web browsing functionality, and a killer media ecosystem. Maybe you like totally different things about both of these phones. Let me know. PhoneDog_Aaron on Twitter. And be sure to enter our greatest tech giveaway ever 2 on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDog. Thanks for watching. Hit me up. Let me know what you think of these devices on PhoneDog.com. We'll see you next time.